Troops, here we are. It's the Eagle Podcast. Sunday afternoon, I've been joined by another awesome guest all the way from Wales. It's the very, very, very special Jen George. Jen, how are you doing?
I'm right, thank you.
Was that okay? Was that a good enough intro for you?
I'm actually in Devon.
Oh, you're in Devon. Sorry, I
Yeah.
apologise. I thought you were
in
in Wales for some reason. She doesn't live in Wales. She lives in Devon, which is nowhere near Wales. Don't try and walk it. Right then, how's Devon?
It's really sunny. It's not rained here, really. I think since the start of lockdown, it rained for a day. 3 weeks in, that's it. So it's glorious.
And you know what? When lockdown finishes, I'll tell you what's going to happen the first day. It'll be an absolute typhoon, won't it?
It will rain, for sure. So, do you know what? That's okay. We can deal with that.
Yeah. How's this been for you? How's this whole world of craziness been for you down in Devon? How's Devon coped?
Devon, I almost feel a little bit bad that I've actually quite enjoyed lockdown, which I never thought I would say, but it has forced me to slow down. And I think that's actually been a good thing for me. Generally, like I say, it's been really sunny. I've been able to sit in the garden. Everyone seems to have slowed their pace of life down quite a lot, just generally around the city. So,
yeah, do you know what, Jen? It's funny you should say that because I've had a lot of people say they've enjoyed lockdown, and it almost feels like it's a taboo thing to say. Like it should be this great, it was the worst moment in our lives. But I feel like it's made people take notice and enjoy things that otherwise they wouldn't have enjoyed. I mean, obviously the financial implications of what's going on is horrible. People are dying, horrible. But there's been some good stuff come out of COVID. Like I've heard personal stories of fathers and family members and mothers and daughters like spending this like super quality time together, which that's theirs for the rest of their lives, you know. And you've probably seen it like I have. People climbing the stairs a bazillion times to summit Everest, and like so many great stories. Is there anything that sort of stuck in your mind that you've seen on social or anything that you know personal?
I think a lot of people have got out to explore the local area who otherwise wouldn't have done. So if I go out for a training run,
yeah,
there's a lot more people. There's families out on bikes that would never have normally gone to that place.
Yeah,
I passed a family today actually when I was out, and these kids were absolutely smashing it going up this hill. And I was just looking at their parents were like lagging behind, but I was looking at these kids and I was like, do you know what? If they've been doing this route regularly, they're so much fitter than they were at the start, and that can only be a good thing. And I know that it's massively affected people's lives. I've got a lot of friends who live in London who are stuck in third floor flats and they don't have access to green space. That's awful. I feel really bad for them. But for a lot of people, for those who do have access to it, people are making the most of it. And that's nice to see.
It's nice to see exactly what you're talking about there, like people taking the time to appreciate what's on the doorstep. Like I live in a very large town, but I'm also very lucky that I've got a long distance trail that goes literally almost centre right through my town, and I've spent a lot of time on that trail, like getting to know it, like and I've noticed things that have always been there, but because I've always been in a rush, like I've never noticed them before. Is there any little stories that you've noticed like that? Anything that you've gone in your local area gone, how long has that been there?
Massively. I haven't actually lived in this house that long.
Okay.
So I'm living in Exeter in Devon, and I was here as a student about 10 years ago. And I've suddenly realised how much of the city I didn't know as a student because I spent all of my time on Dartmoor, climbing or kayaking or walking. And there's so much actually, even in the immediate vicinity of where I live. So 2 days ago now, there's something called the Green Circle, which goes the whole way round Exeter.
Nice.
No idea that this existed. This popped up on Devon County Council website as a recommended route for people in Exeter. And I went and did it, and it was amazing. And I just thought, there's so many nature reserves and little patches of green and woodland that I had no idea existed. Probably half an hour from my doorstep, if that. So yeah, it's been nice to sort of find areas like that.
I know Exeter reasonably well. I've done a little bit to sort of down there in Dartmoor. Dartmoor is a hard area to operate in, especially in bad weather. It's a really great place to test yourself. Definitely. What got you into the outdoors? Or have you always been quite outdoorsy?
So I grew up in Cornwall. So I grew up near Newquay, and I lived on a holiday park. So my dad was a manager there. So myself and my sister had this idyllic upbringing where it's sort of that you read Enid Blyton books about children being allowed out to roam for the day, and mum saying, "Yep, you leave the door open, come back in time for dinner." And we did. We used to just go off, particularly in the winter months when the park was shut. It was our playground. We had all of this space. And then as I got older, I was really into my running and did a lot of cross-country athletics. So I spent a lot of time outside during that. And then aged 14, I started the Duke of Edinburgh's Award. So thought I was going to die on the very first the first like 200 meters of bronze divvy with a massive rucksack and boots that don't fit. Porridge for breakfast with milk replacement powder in, that was disgusting. Didn't eat it, felt terrible, but absolutely loved camping for the first time, spending the time with my friends, and I was addicted straight away. Yeah, that's how I got into it.
Fair play. And obviously I've got mixed up with the Wales thing because I've looked at your Instagram photos and you've got a lot of photos in Wales. Would you say that's your favourite place in the UK or one of them?
Definitely yes. Cornwall lacks mountains. Devon does do slightly better with Dartmoor. So Dartmoor was sort of my first really wild experience. So I do have a soft spot for that. But definitely North Wales and the Lake District. I remember going to both of those places for the first time and being absolutely blown away that I didn't have to get on a plane to see things like that. I've got a bit of a love affair with Cat Bells in the Lake District. That was the first mountain I ever walked up. And then Tryfan in North Wales. I never tire of it. It never gets old. I can go up and down that 1,000 times and I still love it. Yeah,
Tryfan's I think it's the greatest looking mountain I've ever seen. Like I truly, whatever side I see it from, like it just looks so spectacular. And for those who've done it, like the technical paths, like it's such an adventure beyond, it really is a great experiment. And is that sort of how you got into you doing your mountain leader and taking your assessment and all the rest of it? Talk us through that process.
Yeah, so when I finished my Gold Duke of Edinburgh's Award, I with the school that I went to in Cornwall that they very much value outdoor learning. And there was a sort of scheme that they operated there where once you'd finished your gold, for the volunteering part of the award, you could go back and help out with the younger students.
Amazing.
So I did, and I guess I never really stopped. So I went to university, and whilst I was at university, I started working on school camps in my summers. So I got a load of group experience working with young people through that. And then went on to get my, it's climbing instructor award now. It was SPA at the time. And my mountain leader at the same time. So yeah, it just opened up a lot of doors really, because it meant that I could then work in the industry that I'd spent so long volunteering in.
Where did you take your assessment? Who do you do it with?
I did my assessment with Phil George in North Wales.
Yeah. Class. And how did you find the process? Did you enjoy it? I was terrified
when I did my training. I think because Cornish kid goes to the mountain, like it's such this sort of like, whoa, big dream. Like wow, Camborne Hill for anyone who lives in the southwest. That's like the biggest hill around. And then I remember being very intimidated and frightened on my training, and then very quickly realised that actually no, I've got this. And then by the time I came to the assessment, it was such a lovely group of people that I did the assessment with. Yeah. And we did have dream weather, night nav. It was right in the middle of the summer that we did it on one of the longest days of the year.
Nice.
So they were only about 3 hours of darkness. We were there waiting at 1 o'clock in the morning for the dark.
Wow. It's an experience, and like from a personal point of view, I really enjoyed the journey of getting those QMDs, like especially the solo days, like where I would go out and just be out on my own, and like I was right at the very edge of my ability, which I thought was fantastic, because it becomes your bread and butter. Have you got like any sort of stories where you're out on your own and you thought, it's getting a bit tasty now?
Again, because I was quite young at the time when I did it, I didn't know a huge amount of people that worked in the industry.
Yeah.
That went from Cornwall and busy when I was trying to get the days in. And I finished university and my assessment was booked for the following summer. So I had probably 8-9 month period to go off and get all my QMDs. And I did meet up with friends along the way, but I spent an awful lot of time in my car driving up the M6 to get to different locations. And I remember going to Scotland in February, that really great time to get summer days in. And I think I was in Torridon. I want to say I was on, is it Ben Alligan?
Right.
So far north. It's quicker to get to France from Cornwall than it is to get to Scotland.
Yeah, 100%.
And I remember going out, climbing this mountain, it's a mountain, and standing on the top, it was sort of like knee deep in snow. And looking around me, and all I could see was a herd of deer, nothing else, because everything else was white. And the fear just got me straight in the core. And I was really frightened. And I ran off the hill and ended up sort of like putting my waterproofs on. And is it glissading? Is that the technical term?
Right,
bum
sliding. Yeah. Yeah.
I was so frightened. And it was just like, I didn't need to be. I think it was just the kind of expanse, the loneliness that sort of like echoed round the mountainside. It petrified me. And I got back to my car and I realised that my best friends for those 2 weeks were the Radio 1 DJs. So I put my radio on in my car. Just sort of like, there were plenty of days like that. But I think, in hindsight, what an idiot. I should have just... Facebook wasn't so prolific for meeting up with people then. But I think had I had that access to online communities where I could say, right, doing this, anyone free, then that would have been slightly more pleasant.
I agree, but in a way as well, like, that's your day forever. Do you know what I mean? Like, you'll have that to the day you go to your grave. Like, that's yours. No one will ever take that away from you. And the fact, that you've had that day is a great experience. And that's what life's about. Do you know what I mean? Like, that is what it is about. And I always say to people, go to the very edge of where you are comfortable and you will find true adventure, like, waiting for you. And I think anyone who's been through the mountain leader process and obviously further on, has that story, or has that like, oh yeah, I did this, and and it was brilliant, and I thought I was going to die. Like, it's just, it's silly that we say this thing, but I feel as well as a society of people, we came from nature. We used to live in the caves. We used to live in the wilderness, and we were very comfortable in the wilderness. And because of, call it, advances in technology and evolution, we've become so wrapped up in this safety bubble that the moment something pieces it, a lot of people just cave in. Do you know what I mean? Like, a lot of people just, and you can see that now with what's going on in the current crisis. You get a little bit of discomfort, and people start going, "Oof, I don't like it." But no, it's a great story. And where was your favourite place when you were doing your training? Like, is there anywhere that sticks in your mind, like, where you think, oh, that was a brilliant sort of day out? Or
probably the Lake District. I went back to help out with my old school Duke of Edinburgh there, and I've had some
awesome,
hilarious days with some of the staff. And bizarrely, sometimes it's actually, if, like you're saying, if you're outside your comfort zone, sometimes those are the best memories. And I've got some cracking memories of being out on Helvellyn with a guy called Chris, who's one of the staff at the school that I do a lot of work with, and it was so windy, and having that horrendous weather, I really love a sufferfest with weather occasionally.
Yeah.
If you go out in absolutely howling conditions and you just think to yourself, do you know what? Nature is absolutely throwing itself at me today.
Yeah.
And I remember going out up on Helvellyn with Chris we were actually going to catch a group, tell them not to go to the summit because it was so windy.
Yeah, yeah.
And I got blown off my feet. And it's the first time I've ever been blown off my feet. And I just remember bizarre feeling of, I'm flying. I shouldn't be flying. I'm not a bird.
Yeah.
And it hit the ground very ungracefully, but was fine.
Yeah.
But just that moment, the adrenaline rush that came with it really was like, whoa, okay, this is a little bit extreme. And we weren't anywhere particularly exposed.
Yeah.
I think we're up on, is it Greenside Edge, Greenside Bank?
Right, okay.
So yeah, we were somewhere safe. But just that kind of power of nature and weather. That sounds very cheesy, but
yeah, no.
Interesting. I spoke to a friend today about lockdown and how that's impacted, because he was sort of saying about people being outside of their comfort zone or happy being inside and things like this.
Yeah, yeah.
I think for a lot of outdoor people, I pointed out to my friend today that he mountain bikes, he climbs, he surfs. He's used to adrenaline. And for a lot of my friends who work in the outdoor industry, suddenly being told that you can't go out and do these things, that's had a big impact on people. And he has got out this week. He has gone and he's been mountain biking. And it's that feeling, that kind of like, hang on a minute, I'm alive.
Yeah, yeah.
Moment. And now that lockdown's eased a little bit, I think, maybe some of us have realised that we need that feeling.
I think one thing it's taught me is to live in, like, I do live in the now, and I don't sort of think about. I have a real crutch with people when they say someday. I'll do it someday. Like, people who live on Someday Island will realise that before we know it, we are gone and we're dust. And I feel like this whole end of March till now, where we couldn't go to the Lake District, and when we're in lockdown, proper lockdown, and we couldn't go anywhere, I was like, wow, like, I can't get in my car right now and drive to the lakes. Like, I live an hour and a half away from the lakes, and I'm like, wow, I can't even go to North Yorkshire Moors. I can't even go to my closest national park. And like, it really hit home. And like, I don't take for granted that, oh, I'll do it next week. I'm very much like, right, I'm doing that and I'm doing it then. And, and I've said to a lot of people, oh, well, when I get fit enough and when this and when that, I'm like, the problem with when is sometimes it never comes, and you just have to, you got to live in the now. And if you want to do something and it's going to be hard and horrible and it's going to be physically exhausting, it's okay to let things get ugly. It's okay not to be the polished article. And too many people put like doubt in themselves, like, oh, I don't want to be the unfittest, or I don't have the best equipment, or I don't want to make myself look stupid. Like, what does any of that even mean? Do you know what I mean? Like, we should just think, I'm going and I'm going to have a great time. And I say to my people who come out with me, the hardest part of any day is the car park, because after the car park, we're all on the same adventure, and anything could happen. It's been an interesting time for the outdoor community. What do you think the outdoor community will learn from COVID?
I think exactly what you said, individually, for people who work in the industry, maybe valuing their own time more as well, because I know I'm dreadful. Freelance season comes around, every weekend's booked out with work, and not that I don't enjoy the work, but it has made me stand on a minute, am I still doing the adventures that I want to do as well? And if you're working with clients, you tend to be in your comfort zone, and actually, it's nice to just go out with mates sometimes and do your own thing. So I think in a little bit, I know definitely I've had the conversation with several people that feel the same about it.
I feel like it's a great point. And obviously some people get into it, they've got to earn a crust. So they might just do like the National Three Peaks every weekend. Now, personally, that would be like a massive no-no for me, because I personally don't see that. I've done it obviously, but I couldn't think of anything worse apart from doing those three mountains by the most touristy routes that on all three of them. Like, don't get me wrong, there's worse jobs obviously, but going back to what you said, but would you rather do all the all the scrambles in the Lake District in a day? Would you rather go and do a 30, 40, 50 mile long distance trek and really sink the battleship sort of mindset? No, it's interesting. You talk about work now. On your profile, it says that you're a Yes Tribe ambassador. Now, I've heard of the Yes Tribe, but explain, like, do you know, like, its formation and what it's all about?
Yeah, so the Say Yes More overarching front page, if you like, of this online community called the Yes Tribe. And it was started by Dave Cornthwaite, who is an adventurer. He's known for something called Project 1000. So he goes off on 1,000-mile journeys. He came back from one of these and decided to see if there were other adventurous people living in London. So it started as a London community.
Right.
And I think he did a camp out. This was a few years ago now, that he organised a camp out and put it on Facebook to see if people were interested. Got some people interested. They got a train out of London, went camping for the evening, came back.
Wow.
This has now grown. I think last time I checked, it was over 12,000 members.
Wow.
Online, and at its core, it's a Facebook group that encourages people to say yes to more opportunities. So not just outdoor ones, but it could be starting a new hobby, new job. It's just a really supportive, nice group of people. I became an ambassador for them through something that I was doing last year. So I was doing a challenge called 365 Days of Adventure.
Right, okay. Cool.
So I was asked to be an ambassador for them. So yeah, I sort of help promote what they do. I run the Devon and Cornwall community for them now. So it's not just a centralised group. It has sort of spin-off groups around most counties in the UK now.
Wow. I really like it, the Yes Tribe, and I love the word tribe as well, because we are very tribal as a race. We are very tribal. If we spin it in the right way, and we're a positivity tribe, and obviously they say yes is not living on Someday Island, so it's like, yes, I'm doing it, because great things come from saying yes. And is it a UK wide movement, or is it central to the south and southwest?
It's worldwide.
Wow.
Yeah. So internationally, it is still growing. So there's a tribe in Norway that is definitely growing. They've been doing more events recently. New Zealand, different places in Europe, and I believe there's a community recently started in America as well. So yeah, it is gradually growing. At the moment, I think the most members are probably centred around the south, so London, Bristol kind of area.
Yeah.
But it's been really popular since we launched the Devon and Cornwall community. Within the space of a few months, we had 500 people involved online. And then the best part of it is that it translates to real life as well, because we organise events, people come along and get to meet each other in real life. And like you say, calling it the Yes Tribe, it is a very positive group of people who just band together to make things happen, which is great.
Yeah, no, it is great. And is it predominantly run on Facebook or Instagram, or where does it do its business?
Mostly on Facebook. The interaction between the members of the community, Facebook's the best platform for it, but it is on Instagram as well. And
is that going to have to change? Because I feel like the demographics changing on Facebook. So the younger, newer generations actually don't like Facebook and aren't really on Facebook. Like, and especially with the emergence of TikTok, is this powerhouse social media platform which has just exploded during lockdown. What do you think the evolution of the Yes Tribe will look like from like your experience running it from your branch?
Yeah, so for our area, I think for the moment, because it is quite new, I only really sort of took over this area in October, I think. So it's very fresh. So in all honesty, we do have a sort of centralized Instagram, but I've not looked at developing it any further. In terms of appealing to younger audience, yeah, things like TikTok are definitely sort of paving the way, aren't they? In the same way that a few years ago, Instagram was the sort of next big, or Snapchat as well. And I think, yeah, it probably will have to evolve at some point to match those. But currently, I don't think there are any plans to. But I don't know. There could be secret plans.
Innovate. So you say to your members, how does it work? You say, right, we're going to North Wales. We're going to have a weekend. You know, is it like a monthly subscription cost? Is you pay for what you want to go for? Is it free? Like, what's the sort of MO for it?
So at the moment, everything that we run is free. So we tend to stick to the regional area that we're operating from.
Yeah, okay.
Which is great because it means that people come along who may not know their local area that well. And then we've sort of trialled, again, because it's quite new, it's been quite fun to trial different events to see what's popular. So we might go out just for a walk. We might do something, we trialled something called Feast in the Forest.
Nice.
Where everyone met up after work in one of the local woodlands and just bought food with them to share. And it's like, okay, Friday night for a lot of people, they might be down the pub. We were up on the hillside looking out over Exeter on the most beautiful starlit night. And I was thinking, actually, do you know what? I'd rather be here than anywhere else right now.
And is it people looking to find a new community or like replace a community that they've lost, or they no longer have a different, like, example, you give up drinking, or you maybe had a bad relationship and you've come out of a relationship and you start looking for a new friend circle? Is that a fair assessment? Yeah,
I think a lot of people come to it having maybe finished something else. So for me, for example, I was teaching when I first found the S Tribe, and I was not happy at the time in my teaching career. I've realised now that actually probably the subjects I was teaching wasn't necessarily right for me. But I felt terrible. I pretty much thought I was the worst teacher on the planet.
Really? Wow.
I found the S Tribe trawling through Facebook, as you do when you're miserable sometimes, and found the community that way. And yeah, a lot of people, they might have come out of a relationship, or if they've moved areas as well.
Yeah.
So we get a lot of members who, if they've moved from abroad, or even if they've moved from somewhere in the UK, if they're actively seeking a new community to spend time with. Because I think as adults, we forget sometimes that at school, and for people who've been to university or gone through some sort of training, we forget that it's really easy to make friends when you're doing exactly the same thing. But suddenly when you enter the working world, I know I definitely found this moving around, working in different places as an adult. It's really hard to make friends outside of who you're immediately working with. And I've been fairly lucky over the years that the people I work with have been my people. So when I was teaching, I've worked with some absolutely fantastic members of staff teaching. But for a lot of people, they might not have a community of people at work who do what they do. And particularly, going up and having dinner on the side of a hill on a Friday night isn't a normal thing to do. And it should be. It's a great thing to do, but it appeals to a lot of people.
I'd say this, Jen, when people, like, I do some fairly batshit crazy stuff, and people question me and say, are you crazy? Are you mad? I'm like, tell me your Saturday night. Well, I go out and I drink 10 pints and I get wrecked. And then I get a pizza and I go home. I'm like, what'd you get from it? Well, a hangover, and I'm 100 quid down, and I'm like, and I'm the crazy one. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's how we've been socially programmed by drinks companies and this culture of, like, unless you are doing this, you're not normal. But I say to people, like, normal is whatever you're happy doing. Do you know what I mean? Like, I run an event during the summer called the Midnight Madness series, where I go on Summit, Jack's Rake, Sharp Edge, Striding Edge, Swivel Edge, all at midnight with 2 or 3 people. And we have the greatest adventure ever. Like scrambling on mountains on head torches is so awesome. And everyone who does it afterwards is like, best Saturday night I've ever had in my life. And I'm like, and no one got drunk, and no one's going to wake up tomorrow morning hungover and eat a load of food they don't really want to eat and think, why did I spend that much money? And, you know, make an idiot of yourself. And people need to, like, I think especially as you get older, like if you're still going out and getting oblivionated at like late 30s, 40s, you need to have a look and think, what am I missing here? Do you know what I mean? Because it's like trying to hold on to something, isn't it? It's the old Captain Ahab thing. It's hunting the white whale until it takes you to the bottom of the sea. But no, it's interesting. But the Yes Tribe does it sounds fantastic, and it sounds don't want to make too many comparisons, but I know of a group called 1 Year No Beer, and it sounds sort of very very similar, very community driven, very challenge driven, friendship driven. And obviously they've all given up beer, and instead of drinking and getting drunk every weekend, they go and have adventure and learn this and learn a new skill. It sounds great. And how has that affected like the current situation? How has that affected plans for what you had coming up? Do you have anything great coming up?
So with the, sorry, I didn't hear that question very well.
Sorry. No, I'm saying, did you have anything planned, anything major planned for your tribe in Devon?
We had sort of more events such as Feast in the Forest. We run speaker nights, so we have something called Yes Stories, where we get local adventurers in. Who aren't necessarily professional speakers. They might just be someone locally who's been on a really cool trip, and we get them in to share their stories. So I host those in Exeter at the moment, and I'm looking to sort of spread out into Cornwall soon, get an event down there. So we did have to cancel lots of things like that. But the fantastic thing about the Yes Tribe is that they're just so adaptable. Everyone moved online, so we've been running a lot online. We did I organised the lockdown Olympics.
Love it.
And this ended up being a week and a half long amazing event where people sent me their videos and I edited them together into a show reel of everyone sporting talents every evening. Amazing. And it was absolutely ridiculous, the idea being that they had to recreate it in their own home. So we had swimming, we had people swimming in the bath, I went for a swim in the wheelie bin because I didn't have anything else to put water in. We did sailing, people created their own boats out of like cardboard boxes.
Amazing.
Hilarious. And I think we had consistently about 70 people joining in, sending videos, and it's brilliant.
How great is it when you get a group that is on the same wavelength and is super positive, and there's no negativity. And one thing that I always tell people is, when I get someone new joining my group, my tribe, and they're like, I was like, the people who you know now won't be the same people in a year's time, because you're going to start to adapt, evolve, and going out and getting obliterated on a weekend, that won't be a thing anymore. But those people who do that won't like the fact that you're kicking on. And just watch the comments that they post. Like the best one I've ever seen is when someone does like a challenge with me, like a 50,000 step Fitbit challenge. When they post it, I always read the comments, and when people write things like, "Oh, I don't know what, I would never do something like this," or "Wow, never in my wildest dreams will I do this," and I say to people, see those people there, get rid, because you're going and they don't want to let you go, and there's only one place those people will ever take you. Like, and I bet there's no negativity in your group, is there? But there's never any like Karen off Facebook chucking 20 pence in.
No, it's a really, like I say, really positive community, and everyone just supports each other with whatever wacky plans they have. Someone new posted on the group the other day talking about an adventure that she wanted to do. I think it was traveling to Budapest.
Amazing.
Like 80 people have commented on different things.
Wow.
Oh yeah, like I knew a coffee shop and an ice cream shop she needed to visit. Somebody else was like, oh yeah, you have to go to this place. It's just brilliant. But like you say, I mean, there have been times that I've received negative comments for exactly what you were saying.
Yeah.
If you're supporting people to kind of make those changes in their life, I have received negative comments from people who are like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And it's tough, but it has got to the point where I've thought, actually, do I really want to be spending time with people who are dragging you down in that way? And it's made me look at life a bit differently. It's like, right, who's going to boost me up?
Yeah, 100%.
Who's going to be the person that, instead of either laughing at you or making nasty comments, the person who goes, do you know what, mate? I'm coming with you. And that's the best moment of all, when people just make that crazy decision to be like, no, I'm going to go.
Yeah. It's the old aim for the bushes, isn't it? Rock and Samuel, have you ever seen it? The other guys, aim for the bushes. Leap of faith. No, it's got to be done. Jen, fantastic. I love the outlook. I love that hat that you're wearing. For those who can't see, she's wearing a really cool hat. I like to end the show with the 5 watts. I've changed them for COVID. So the first one is, what does your day look like? We are creatures of routine.
My day is probably more routine than it's ever been. It's been absolutely wonderful. I've sort of gone from this crazy freelance life of driving around the country and not knowing where I'm going to be sleeping the next evening, different jobs. And yeah, I sleep in a bed now. It's great. So I wake up in the morning. I join something called the London Writers' Salon. I have taken up writing. I'll explain that I know what one of the other questions is going to be in a minute. So I'll explain more with that one. So I joined the London Writers' Hour for an hour. That's why it's called the London Writers' Hour.
Yeah.
I then join a Yes Tribe dance party, which is a 5-minute one-track dance party hosted by my friend Charlotte. Amazing. So we all, about 30 people, jump on a Zoom call, have a little party. I might go for a run, because now that I've been stuck at home, rather than can get into a proper routine with training. So I've started marathon training again, with the intention of doing some more ultra marathons.
Awesome.
As and when they are open again. And then eating. Eating is probably what I do with the rest of my day.
Yeah. It sounds great. And you mentioned to me this week that you listened to KP's podcast. She doesn't live that far away from you. I think she's up in the Bristol area.
In Bristol? Whoa.
So you could sort of create this all-female super ultra running team and take over the world.
We need more badass females. Like that's the ultimate life goal, is just completely surround myself with badass females. 100%. Take over the world. No offense, obviously, to men.
Nah, hey. Go for it. I'm all for it, man. Eagles fly with eagles. It don't matter. It's all good. What workouts are you doing, either mentally or physically?
Writing in the morning has definitely been a mental workout for me, because I've always enjoyed writing, but it's not something I've done for a long time. Workout wise, I have been running a lot. I live on a very hilly side of Exeter, cool. So going out for a couple of hours a few times a week, and I've been following a marathon training plan to get back up to kind of 26-mile distance, but like I say, with the intention of going for more ultra marathons. Now that the restrictions have lifted slightly, I can get back up to Dartmoor, so I can get back and do some more training sessions off road. What
would be the long distance trail? I have the Teesdale and the Weardale Way near me. Do you have like a long 100-mile sort of trail? Anything like that?
There's various different trails in and around Devon. There's the Two Counties Way.
Okay, cool.
So there's that. There's the Two Moors Way. Everything's in pairs here. Two Counties Way, the Two Moors Way. So there are some quite long distance bits, but as well, a lot of the coast path.
Awesome.
Those would probably be. I'd love to do the Southwest Coast Path running at some point. I'm not fit enough to do it yet.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure like one of the large challenge companies, like I want to say Action Challenge, do some sort of long distance 60-mile 24-hour hiking challenge, running challenge down that way. And I mean, why not? It's stunning, isn't it?
There's definitely a coast to coast that runs across Devon, which sadly I have signed up for that before, but it was cancelled. So yeah, like the Dartmoor 50 race, I think Freedom Racing planned that one. So yeah, I mean, as and when events are back up as well, that's going to be really helpful because it's, again, you then have that definite point that you can train for.
Yeah, 100%.
And until then, just kind of get my fitness where I want it, and then yeah.
Fair play. Third one, what have you started?
What have I started? So the challenge I was talking about earlier, the 365 Days of Adventure challenge, which was over 2019. As soon as lockdown started, the London Writers Salon started doing their London Writers Hour.
Awesome.
And so we log into a Zoom call every morning for an hour and write. I have started and, yes, finished my first draft of my book for 365 Days of Adventure.
Wow, that's amazing.
Which I never in my wildest dreams did I think that would happen. And
that's amazing.
Now I'm scared because I'm like, oh, now I've done it, I'm going to have to share it with the world.
Is it in a blog format, or are you going to release it like a paperback? Or
if I can release it as a paperback, that's the intention. If no one's interested in it, then I'll either release it on Amazon online or do it as sort of like newsletter format otherwise. But
yeah, someone will.
Yeah, the aim is paperback.
Someone will see value in it. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you took time to write it, someone will take time to read it. That's how it goes, isn't it? And it doesn't matter if it's only read by one person or 20 million people. If it changes one person's outlook and helps them have a better life, then it's mission accomplished, isn't it? That's the way I look at it. Fourth one, what have you stopped doing?
I've stopped worrying as much, actually. Which, yeah, the world's gone crazy. The world's shut down. It's gone into this sort of crazy loop of no one sure whether they're coming or going. But I think because I've had time to stop and rest and think, I've had a lot of time to be able to think about where I want to be next year, to be doing. And yeah, it stopped me worrying as much because I think I've suddenly realised it's like, actually, you've got more of your life together than you thought you had. And
that's a great point.
It's a relief, a complete relief, which again, like I know we were saying earlier, sort of almost feel guilty for saying that you've enjoyed lockdown, but yeah, it's given me the gift of time.
Yeah, so, and I feel like people lockdown give people a chance to build legacy and sort of when it is officially over and we look back in 2-3 years time, like there'll be people who you read about and be like, God, yeah, I remember lockdown. Like it will be a thing. Like it is our thing. We own it. And some people, the next big superstars or next big TikTok people or whoever it is, you'd be like, and some people look at it and say, what did I do during lockdown? I whinged all day on Facebook and ate Cheetos. Like, why didn't I do something with all that time? But it's what you do time. We all get the same 24 hours in the day, and it's about what you do with that time that makes the difference in your world. You're in charge. You're in charge of your world, and what the outcome is just how it depends you want to put your energy into. Fifth and final one. What's the first thing you're going to do after lockdown, after we return to the new normal? The most hated saying ever.
The first thing I'm going to do. So there's a pub.
Nice.
I know you've just spoken about not drinking on our Saturday nights.
Go for it.
There's a pub near where my parents live, and one of my absolute favourite things to do is to... if I say that, it's one of my favourite things to do. I've only done it once before, but mum and dad's, if they drive round to the pub, I race them to the pub but on foot. So they go the roadway, which is a bit longer. I can run up into our local town, and then it's a little bit on road and then a trail run through one of the woodlands.
Nice.
To arrive at the pub covered in sweat, to probably have lost the race to Dad, but if Dad's got there first, then
you get the round in.
Yeah, yeah, he'll get around it. And do you know what? A Koppenberg cider, don't judge me for this. Koppenberg cider, one of the berry ones. And just with the little beads of sweat running down the glass. And I'm going to sit in that pub garden next to the wisteria, which smells amazing. And I'm going to drink my Koppenberg, and it's going to be beautiful.
Hey, that's fine. Do you know what I mean? Whatever people want to do, that's what they want to do. Jen, absolutely awesome speaking to you. I feel like you have a great outlook and a great story, and I hope the book goes really, really well for you. Where can people find you? Not literally. Do not give out your home address.
Where can people find me? So I am on Instagram and Facebook, Jen_George_adventures.
Yeah.
Yeah, both Instagram and Facebook. That's the best place to find me.
Your Yes Tribe Devon, is it just Yes Tribe Devon, or is it some sort of variation of that?
So I always say to people, if they're interested in the Yes Tribe, if they put Say Yes More into Facebook,
okay,
that will take them to sort of the main page, and from there all of the regional groups are listed.
Okay, brilliant.
And there's sort of an overarching Yes Tribe group as well, which is sort of like the main page where everyone comes together. Either of those are great, because then you can find your regional area,
Fantastic.
tribe, or you can join the main one. I say or just to join as many as you like, because I know a lot of people, particularly in the freelance world, who might be listening to this podcast, if people move around a lot with work, I know I belong to about 8 different regions because I work all over the place, and actually people in new places.
Definitely. Jen, look, thanks very much for giving me your time on.
Thank you so much for having me.
No, absolutely. It's all about meeting the right people and surround yourself with the people who sort of have your ethos on the way you think, and it's how we push out a good, strong message, and people follow that left foot, right foot, and we keep moving forward as a society. Jen, look, thanks very much for your time. Have a great rest of your Sunday, and look forward to meeting you one day on the hill somewhere.
Definitely.
Thanks, brilliant. Good night. Bye.